Hey everyone, welcome back to Mr. Haas Classroom. Today we're going to be doing UFLI lesson 64, day 1, where we are talking about the inflectional ending ED. Let's take a look at our schedule here. So the first thing we're going to do is phonemic awareness practice. So we're going to start with blending, and then we're going to do segmenting. So blending, and this one is a little different because we have the endings that we're talking about today and some yesterday. So listen up. Old. Filled. Good. Clapped. Okay, now it's gonna get a little different because this word, we kind of need to do it in two parts. So the first part, wish, wish, as, wish as wishes. See, I had to do it in two parts because it got two syllables. So you break apart each syllable first instead of trying to do all the syllables at once, because that's too many taps. That's too many for our brain to remember. We want to do at least like up to 5 per syllable. But anyway, let's try that for segmenting. So this time I'll say the word like yelled, and then you'll go yelled. Yelled. Cool. Sipped. Sipped. Yeah, we're like, wait, is there enough in there? Yes. Sipped. So there was 4. Okay, this time we're gonna take the word that's got 2 syllables and break it apart. So say brushes. Brushes. So start with brush. Brush. Sh. Then we have as. So brushes. So we talked about the as in the rule that we did in the last lesson. So if you haven't seen that, check it out. But we're gonna move on into our visual drill. Okay, so let's move forward. Our visual drill is where you're gonna see the picture of the grapheme. Tell me what it can say. Okay, so the first one is G or J or S, A or A, I or I, O or A, E or U or oo or Remember, it's got 2 long vowel sounds. It's either U or oo. Okay. B, or th, or z. Okay, good. Now we're going to go into our auditory drill. My friends are going to get out their boards quietly, boards and markers. If you don't, you can have paper and pencil. But we are going to hear the sound, hear the phoneme, and then write down what the picture should be. So phoneme, phone means sound. Graph means picture. So when we say the grapheme, that means what the letter looks like. When we say phoneme, it's what the letter sounds like, okay? So let's take a look. I'm going to say what letter or what grapheme can say J. J. Okay, so I see someone who wrote G-E. Perfect. Not just G. G says G, but G-E is soft G, or actually G-I also, and G-Y can do that. But then also J by itself can say J. Good. All right, let's try the next one. What can say unk? Unk. How do you write that out? All right, that didn't really trick anyone. Unk. Great work. Next one we're going to try is what can say Okay, so the easy one, S, but SS, the double S can still say it, but also C, soft C with like CE or CI or CY. This C will say S, like dice or icy. All right, and then the last one I'm gonna do, what can say you? long you can say that. So like with a U with a consonant and an E, like cube, like cube. This says U. We are going to move on to our next spot, which is going to be our blending board. So I need to pull that up. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to blend some words, or I'm going to put the words up, and then you're going to blend them. So I want to hear you loud and proud, okay? So the first word is dishes. Good, but what if I did this? Dish, and then I change dash, and then I do dashes, and then I change this to stashes. What if I do this though? Stashes, and then I just get rid of that. Stash, and then I go staff, and then I do this. Stuff. And what if I put this right here? Snuff. What if I do this? Sniff. What if I do this? Sniffs. What if I do just that? Sniff. Good. What if I do that? Tiff. What if I do stiff? What if I do myth? What if I change this? Miss, and then I misses, and then I change the last one is messes. Great work. Okay, we're gonna move into our final new concept. The new concept is RED. So let's take a look. So we're talking about ED. You add to the end of a word. It's called an inflectional ending because it helps change what a word means a little bit. Just a little bit. Here's an example. You see the word jump. Jump. You see the word yell. Those are verbs. Those are things you can do. But if we add ED at the end, it kind of changes it a little bit. Let's take a look at that. So when we have ED, let's take a look. If I say I jump, I'm talking about right now. But if I say I jumped, am I doing it right now? No. No, I'm talking about when I did it in the past. So if we're making it past tense, then what we're saying is, oh, I already did this. I jumped yesterday at the trampoline park. So the ED doesn't change the word jump. It still means this. Jump still means this. But if I say ED, that means I already did it. It's done. Let's take another example. I yell when I'm scared. But if I say I yelled, am I doing it right now? No, past tense. So the ED we put at the end of verbs to say that we already did it or someone else already did it. Like if I go trick-or-treating and my daughter's going by a scary exhibit and then we say she yelled when she got scared. We're saying that it already happened. So ED changes what it says. Okay, let's move on. So here's the thing. ED can make different sounds. Let's take a look. So it can say d, like dog, d, at the end of a word. It can also say t, like tiger, at the end of a word. But sometimes, and I'll tell you in a second, sometimes it says ed, like it's spelled. You might be like, well, yeah, it says ed, that's how it's spelled. It only says ed if the word ends with a T or a D. So if it doesn't, like yelled, ended with a D sound, yelled. It didn't say yelled. It says yelled. Or for jump, if I say I jumped, I jumped. So those sounds are already there. But if it's a verb that ends with D or T already, then it says ed. Okay, let's take a look. D. Do you say d? D. Okay. Called. It doesn't say call ed. It says called. Okay, next one. Tamed. Now, this one is fun because this tame already ends with an E. Should we add another E? No. You just add the D at the end, so the ED there. Tamed. Okay, move on. The t. Okay, so listen up. Like sniffed. We didn't go sniffed, and it's not sniffed, it's sniffed. Okay, and then also helped. Helped. Awesome. Now, the ED will be at words that already end with a T or a D. So let's take a look at some of those examples. Like landed. Like if I land, like you're talking about flying a plane, when it comes down, they say the plane has landed. You hear that? Landed. You don't go landed, because if you just make it a D sound, then it sounds like you're not even saying it. And if it says a T sound, landed, then it's awkward too. Okay, let's look at another example. Handed, landed, handed. That's where we hear the D. Let's look at another example. This one ends with a T, so it says shifted. You hear the ed there? So we only say ed if it already ends with a D or a T. Cool, move on. So this, remember this upside down E, that's a schwa. That means it doesn't say the exact sound that it should. It's not eh, eh, eh. In a lot of these cases, we don't even hear it. But anyway, let's move on. Okay, so these are our ED spelling sounds. So either D or T or ed, like landed. Okay, cool, move on. We're not gonna write anything here, so let's move into our final part. Watch me read. Yelled, smashed, rested. Oh, there's that ED, ed. Okay, everybody, read with me. Filled, called, asked, crashed, rocked, ended, handed, lasted. Okay, we're not going to spell, so that means we're all done. Give yourselves a round of applause, pat on the back, kiss on your brain, and we will see you next time. Bye, everyone.